everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, March 6th. Now, of course, it's Saturday, so we don't have any meetings for you today, but we'll just jump right in and tell you who's on our show. We sat down with Dr. Chen from Memorial Care Saddleback Medical Center. He's got a lot of great information to talk to us about heart disease. And then we also have the Theater Guild with Eveline Hoffman and Madeline Enright, and they talk all about some upcoming activities that they have, of course through Zoom, but nonetheless, they always know how to have a good time. All right, our COVID resources for you through Laguna Woods Village vaccinations. We do not have our hotline anymore, but what we would like to refer you to is our LagunaWoodsVillageAlerts.com website, where you can get all the latest information about Laguna Woods Village, as well as an FAQ page where you can find most of your answers to any questions that you have regarding that. And of course, if you are 65 and over and you were not able to get the vaccination, we would like you to please send us an email to info@LagunaWoodsVillage.com with your name, your Matter number, and what you're actually looking for and for how many people in your household. That way they'll be able to know just how many people have been vaccinated here in Laguna Woods Village to see if more needs to be done. If you would like to be vaccinated at Soka University or Disneyland, or even Rite Aid now, for Soka University or Disneyland, you want to go to register at athena.com, and then Rite Aid, you will go to their website, riteaid.com/COVID-19. And if you are a Kaiser Permanente member, you will want to go to their website, which is kp.org/COVID vaccine, and you will click on Make an Appointment. And then they also have a hotline you can call, 833-574-2273. All right, let's take a look at our weather for the weekend. It's looking very nice. We are going to be a little cool today, partly sunny, 64-48. Tomorrow, 64-48, exactly the same thing. And then Monday, partly cloudy, 63-46. And if you are traveling in California, you may want to take a look at some of these temperatures, because if you are heading to the north, up in the Sierras, it's going to be snowing. So our beaches are 61-50, Santa Barbara 65-42, San Diego 64-53. As I mentioned, High Sierras 39-20, Big Bear 54-27, Mammoth 45-20, and then Palm Springs 80-52. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:13. And our sunset will be at 5:52. Now, Gina sent in this gorgeous up-close photo of a flower recently after the rains. So Gina, thank you so much. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you really captured all the beautiful colors. Thank you for sending that in. If you have a photo that you would like to share with our village, please email it to LagunaWoodsVillageTV@gmail.com. When we return, we will sit down with Dr. Chen of Memorial Care, so stay tuned.
We're a family business. I have my wife, my two sons that work in the business with me, so we really actually are a family-run business. We call them our extended family. We do it from the moment they walk into the office. We actually have personal relationships and friendships with our clients.
They're not just a client, they are part of our friends and family.
That's what we do here at Sterling Financial Advisors. We help people get peace of mind and quality of life in retirement.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Chen, who is the medical director of the Structural Heart Program at Saddleback Medical Center. Doctor, thank you for joining me.
I am part of the cardiology department at Saddleback. My specific role is as the medical director of the Structural Heart Program at Saddleback Medical Center. That is correct.
Thank you for joining us. Now, I've never heard of a MitraClip. Is this something that's fairly new, or has it been around for a while?
So it's fairly new to clinical practice. It's only been around for a few years. It was originally developed about 10, 15 years ago. So in terms of heart treatment, it is a relatively new procedure, yes.
Okay, so at what point, well, I guess let's start with what is a mitral valve regurgitation? Because is that when you would use something like this?
Exactly. So the MitraClip was invented to treat a condition known as mitral regurgitation. So the first thing to know is that the heart itself has different rooms, and between the rooms, there's different doors, and we call those doors the valves. And there's 4 valves in there, and they're meant to keep the blood going in one particular direction. So they need to open well, but also close well to make sure the blood doesn't go backwards. So the mitral regurgitation is a condition of the mitral valve itself where the blood leaks. So you may have heard the term leaky valve. And so that's when the mitral valve doesn't close properly and the blood leaks backwards in the wrong direction. Yeah, so it's a very common, it's gotten to be a very common problem. It's thought that probably 1 in 10 people over the age of 75 have moderate to severe mitral regurgitation. Yes.
So is it just age that's causing something like this to happen, or are there other things?
Oh, it's a combination of many different things. So there's a lot of reasons why the mitral valve may not work properly. Some of them are congenital in the sense that someone was born with them. Most of the times, it's a condition that develops as the years go by. Either there's 2 major types of problems. One is if you imagine the doors, sometimes there's a problem with the door itself. So sometimes the tethers that hold the door in a certain position break. Sometimes the door itself becomes damaged. And then there's a second type of problem where it's the problem of a leaky mitral valve comes from not the door, but more like the door frame. So you may have heard of enlarged hearts, and that's a situation where it actually stretches the door frame open, and there's nothing wrong with the door, but you can imagine a door that's trying to close in a frame that's been stretched open still won't be able to close that door. So yes, there's a wide range of reasons why people may develop a door that just doesn't close properly.
Okay. And then is this the only kind of procedure that is appropriate for that issue?
Well, there's a lot of ways to treat mitral regurgitation, and it all depends on basically how bad the leakiness is and how someone is doing with it. If it's not too bad, usually we're able to help a patient feel better just by using medicines. And so we'll adjust medicines, we'll try different medicines to see if we can help them do better. As it gets worse, then we start talking about the possible need to actually go inside and fix the door. Okay. And traditionally, what we were talking about is open heart surgery, which is, as you can imagine, a big deal. And so sometimes it is necessary for a surgeon to just go inside, be able to get their hands on the mitral valve and just try to fix what's wrong, or potentially even just replace the entire apparatus inside with, it's called a mitral valve replacement.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of patients who are either high risk for surgery or basically unable to undergo heart surgery, which is a big deal. And for that reason, we in the field invented the mitral clip, and that's for basically patients who it's not a good idea to put them through heart surgery.
Right. So tell me what the mitral clip procedure is.
Yeah. So I think you may have a picture of the clip on your side. So it basically, I tell people it's like a very, very small clothespin. And of course, it's more complicated than the wooden clothespins. It's a very small, less than the size of a dime. It's made of metal. It's a little clip that we can put in through a minimally invasive procedure. So the entire procedure itself is what we call minimally invasive. I can go in through a small little incision in the groin in the vein, follow the vein highway up to the heart, and under very particular imaging techniques we have, known as echocardiography as well as fluoroscopy, we can maneuver the clip right where the door flaps are and essentially hold them together so that they don't unnecessarily leak and make them function well again.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. Let me ask you, if somebody decided, I'll be fine, I don't need the clip, or I don't need to have open heart surgery, what would actually happen to that patient?
Yeah. So the symptoms, they'll first well, first you won't notice anything as the leakiness gets worse and worse. But the problem with the leakiness is that it makes the heart work very inefficiently. And so the heart has to work harder to push the blood in one direction when a lot of it is leaking backwards. Over time, this can cause the heart to enlarge, and then patients can develop and put a lot more strain on the heart and the lungs, and then cause them to have symptoms of what we generally call heart failure. So symptoms of that are symptoms such as fatigue, shortness of breath, sometimes lightheadedness or dizziness, low energy, swelling in the feet and ankles, sometimes irregular heartbeats. And so, as the disease progresses, these symptoms will get worse and worse. And although we can try to use medicines to help things get better, eventually it gets to the point where the patient says, this is not acceptable. I need to do something else to get this better.
I see. And then what, how would somebody find out if they were a candidate for this type of procedure?
Right. So to make this diagnosis, there's a few different ways we go about it. We always start with the patient's story, what we call the patient's history. And so a lot of times our first clue that someone is having something wrong with this mitral valve is when they get those symptoms we just discussed. And so they'll see maybe a general doctor, and they'll be seen to have these symptoms, and the doctor will say, well, maybe you have heart failure. Why do you have heart failure? Maybe you need to see a cardiologist. Some things we can find out just from the history as well as the physical exam. So physical exams such as we listen to the heart, this leaky valve actually makes a sound we call a murmur. So sometimes
Sure.
Patients may be told, oh, wow, you have a murmur. What's going on here? You may need to see a cardiologist. And so when we see the patient, one of the best ways we have to make this diagnosis is something we call the ultrasound of the heart, an echocardiogram. And so we are able to take great pictures of the heart and see exactly how the heart is structured and functioning. And so we get great pictures of the valves themselves, and we're able to say, oh, your valves are working fine, or no, you have a problem with your mitral valve. It is very leaky. You have moderate, maybe severe mitral regurgitation. Mm-hmm. And once we can use that to make the diagnosis, then we can start talking about what to do about that problem.
Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like there's lots of options, and there's sort of a lead up to, whether or not you would need the MitraClip. So it's good that you have options for preventative, so it doesn't get so bad that you have to jump right to the procedure. So wonderful information. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chen. I appreciate you taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me on.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.
Breast cancer takes patients down paths they never expected, and Memorial Care Comprehensive Breast Center at Saddleback can help navigate the way. We provide multidisciplinary breast care services for the early detection, diagnosis, and treatment of breast cancer using state-of-the-art technology in a personalized environment designed to meet the needs of each woman.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by the Theater Guild, and I have Madeline and Evelyn here with me. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're very happy to be here.
Well, I know it's been tough, and we've been indoors most of the time, and things are getting better as we report on a regular basis. So that's the good news. Although we're still only meeting in very small groups or, over Zoom. I'm assuming you guys have still been active meeting with each other, and either one of you can talk about that.
We have been meeting in Zoom meetings. We've done some outdoor events, but they've been socially distanced.
Okay.
And so it's been an interesting challenge for the Theater Guild. And we've made an effort to, frankly, be creative in how we approach our membership so that they can still be included in the various meetings that we have and still make it fun, because it is different. It's very different.
Yeah, exactly. And it was funny. I've talked to a couple of different people now who I think generally everybody is thankful for Zoom, because otherwise, my gosh, what would we do without it, right?
Oh,
We'd have to figure out Skype and some of the other things that are doable. But this has really been quite a godsend for the majority of us. I've been able to do so many interviews this way from
Yes.
across the country, which is kind of
I think
nice.
it's going to continue afterwards too.
Yes.
People,
I
because
think
a lot
so.
of people will be staying home.
Yeah, well, Madeline, not Madeline, I'm sorry. Evelyn, you guys have like similar names. So
Well, not really. It's Madeline and Eveline, but that's okay.
Eveline.
We go by many
Well,
names.
I've been
Evan,
butchering your name
Eveline,
all this
Eveline.
time.
That's okay.
Eveline, there we go. So, you've been home a lot. What have been some of your challenges?
Wow. Well, our challenges are trying to figure out how to get groceries and things like that without going out, and finding things. I enjoy my own company, which might sound a little selfish, but I don't. So I read, I do a lot of different things. My husband and I, we go walking twice a day. But it's like with everybody else. I mean, sometimes you get a little lonely. You want to see your kids, and those are challenges. It's been hard, but now that we both had both our vaccines,
Right.
we're good. So, yeah, yeah.
That's
You too, Madeline, right?
Yeah. And that's good that you were able to do that. I mean, they are offering 65 and over at the other pods, University, Soka University and Disneyland. And Madeline, how about you? Have you had any challenges?
Oh gosh, yes. It's been interesting to keep the COVID-15 off, as I call it. I mean, it's just haunts you, right? So yeah, I've learned to do, as you've indicated, Zoom in many different ways. I do Zoom aerobics online. I still get out and walk. I start to do more Zoom meetings. I have Zoom happy hours with friends so I can keep in touch with them, which has been a blast. I get to see everybody's homemade cocktails, which is fascinating. So yeah, there's been some challenges, but I've really been learning more and more computer skills, which is fascinating.
Yes, I just learned one today. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Right.
Good. You know what? These are kinds of the things that I think has been good. Even though they're challenges, we are finding more ways to communicate and more ways to adapt. And I think in the long run, this has been okay. I mean, for the most part, we certainly hope so. Now, as a group, I know you guys have been holding various meetings still via Zoom, and you've got one coming up this month. And I understand you want to highlight writing. So
Yes.
why is writing so important?
Well, we have found out in the Theater Guild that we have really multi-talented members that have not just acting, but they write. And this has been an opportunity. COVID has actually presented us with an opportunity to highlight some of our writers, which we've not done in the past. So this is a great opportunity to showcase them, I think, in a wonderful way, because Zoom can actually be intimate because you're right up in their face, right? I don't know how else to put it. And they get to read a part of their book. And the books that are going to be read, there are a variety. I mean, Eveline has got a really heart-wrenching, inspiring true story about her life that she'll be reading an excerpt from. But we also have people who, Fred Cantor, who's going to read his memoirs of being a lifelong Knicks fan. And then we have Phil Duran, Phil, who was a producer and writer in Hollywood for like All in the Family and various other shows. And he's going to read an excerpt from his book about retirement in Tuscany, which is The Reluctant Tuscan. So, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, we have Sunshine Ludi, we have Phil Silverman, we have Janet Harrison, and I know I'm missing somebody. I hope not, but I'm sure I'm skipping somebody. But it's been a pleasure to get to know these people through their writings. And so we're going to present that to the Theater Guild, and it'll just, I'm sure, snowball from there into ideas about eventual shows that we could do in the future. So it's been wonderful to include all these people with different talents in our Theater Guild.
It's just amazing that that you can do programs on Zoom like we have. It's just amazing because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
to get people together, rehearse on Zoom, and all like Phil Duran, for instance, he also did a dating game here in the village years back. He did. We had a program about him too. Anyway, and we look forward to that. We look forward to seeing that Zoom. I can't wait for that meeting because, you know, it brings everybody together again. You feel like you're with the people again. You don't feel distant. You know, it's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing, and it's a lot of work. Yeah.
So let's talk about that meeting. So the information is that it's on March 18th at 7 p.m. Now, is it only members or can anybody do it?
Anybody can do it. You just have to get the link. You can participate. We're trying to include everybody in the village that wants to participate because we know everybody, you know, social life is different. So socializing with Theater Guild and it could be fun and you'll meet some new people. So anybody can attend.
Okay, so if they're non-members, they should contact Wendy Shade. Is that correct?
Yes, contact Wendy Shade and she will send out the link to them. Okay. Of course, we will encourage you to become a member, but
well, I think even if they aren't members, you know, this is going to be interesting to get to know the people. And it sounds like the works are like a documentary or it's a biography, and that's kind of you just don't know.
You just don't know. Like, well, Barb Torino, she's going to do one on how to act your way through life. And it's very intriguing because is she telling you to act your way through life, or if you know how to behave better, your life will be better. It's a very interesting little approach.
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting about writing a book, and Eveline, as you have indicated, you have a book, is that ever since, you know, Amazon had come about, actually self-publishing a book is easier than having an agent and do all of that stuff. However, when you publish a book on Amazon, there's so much to do. And so it is, I helped a friend of mine do it. So I totally get, I mean, you have so much to do just to do it. And is that what you experienced, Eveline?
Well, Gordon Rachusa, who is the actual writer who, you know, wrote the book, or we told it to him and together we wrote it. He has published other books before. So from what I understand, but he did it through Gibson Heroes Hearts, which is a nonprofit, and they use their platform to advocate against discrimination and bullying. So all the proceeds from the book go to these projects of his. We just wanted the book written for posterity to have for the family, for friends, because there's so much, you know. Right. When my kids were growing up, they didn't want to hear too much about our past. Now they're very interested. So, you know.
I think as you get older, we certainly do want to know more about the past. Right. Yeah. Well, that's good information because I'm sure people think about writing a book, but then they're like, well, I don't know, what am I going to write? How do I get started? Will you be talking a little bit about that?
Well, Eveline, you want to go ahead? I mean, there are a lot of self-published book articles of how to self-publish. Right. And, you know, that's an interesting thought. And Lisa, that's something we should probably address. Eveline, if you want to talk about that during your presentation, that'd be wonderful. But if you go through Amazon, there's a lot of self-help books that show you how to do it. Amazon, frankly, is very aggressive about their percentage of the profit that they want to keep. But still, it's a good way to get through the process at least once to see how it is, because it is difficult. Yeah, it really is very difficult. Yeah,
definitely tedious. But Eveline, I like the thought that you can donate your proceeds. That's a great concept. I don't think that's available on Amazon that I'm aware of.
No, it's not. That's why we have a separate a platform to, you know, give some. It's a GIVSUM, and you go on that site and you see all about the books, and it tells you all about the projects that they're doing, so you can pick one if you want.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, that's
great. What a good idea.
It's a great idea. Eveline, what's the name of that again? I want to write that down.
Oh, Give Some. It's GIV as in Victor, SUM. And you could just click on book, or in fact, we were interviewed and we have a message in the bottle through Heroes Hearts, which is also part of this group. And it's just, it's a wonderful, that's why I would like to sell a lot of books. And I never wanted to push the book because I didn't want people to think it's for me. It's not. I want, you know, the charities to benefit from it. You know?
Right.
That's wonderful.
That is great, and we'll share that with our residents as well.
Yeah.
So, Eveline, we have just a little bit of time. If you would like to read just a very small excerpt from your book, I would appreciate that.
Okay. Well, is a minute and 15 seconds too long?
No, you can go fast.
Okay. Wouldn't it be great if we could match my brother with one of your daughters? Suzanne had asked Anna earlier, not caring anything about the second person, Eddie. Roger had said that Eddie was his first choice for such a date because he knew that Eddie owned a vehicle. Suzanne knew that he was quite popular with the ladies and a confirmed bachelor. Didn't matter much since this was only going to be one date. Paulette, on the other hand, just liked the idea of dating as it was fairly new to her. She was very beautiful and was often the focus of interest for other young men her age. Roger met and begged Eddie one final time, "Please, Eddie, I really would like to go out with this girl, but you know how women are. She won't go out with me unless someone takes out her sister Eveline." "Fine, I'll be your chauffeur, but just this one date, and if it goes badly, I'm going home early." On the night of the date, Eddie and Roger showed up to pick up the girls. Eddie took one look at Eveline and felt as if he was struck by a bolt of lightning.
Oh,
Cute.
sweet, super sweet. Well, thank you both for sharing. That's adorable. Thank you for sharing, and good luck with your meeting. It sounds great.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the interview. You too.
And thank you for having us.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye.
And we'll be right back after this.
At Harvard Eye, we are so happy to be open again and to see all of you for your medical and surgical eye care. We're taking great care to protect everyone from COVID-19 by seeing fewer patients, spacing out chairs in our lobby, sanitizing our office constantly, and doing much more. The world is changing a lot, but what hasn't changed is we're honored by your trust and confidence, and we're committed to keeping you safe. We can't wait to see you.
Our movie for today is called Wild Mountain Time, and it is starring John Hamm, and you can see that today at 3 p.m. with subtitles and then 6 p.m. without subtitles, and that is brought to you by Harvard Eye Associates. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather locally as well as around California. Our weather's looking pretty good today. We are going to be a high of 64, 48 tomorrow, same thing. And then Monday, partly cloudy, 63, 46. And then if you are traveling around California, our beaches are looking quite nice, 61, 50. Santa Barbara, 65, 42. San Diego, 64, 53. If you're going up to the mountains, 39, 20. Big Bear, 54, 27. And Mammoth, 45, 20. Palm Springs, 80, 52. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you again here on Monday with an update from Jeff Parker and also an update from GRF. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.